Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Lost World Jurassic Park. And again, this is directed by Steven Spielberg, just like the first movie. And before I get into it, I can't really talk about this movie very well because normally how I do my reviews is I talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. But for this review, I can't do that because there's no aspect of this movie really in terms of its story where I can just talk about positives and just talk about negatives because they're kind of mixed in between each other. And what I mean by that is there will be like in terms of acting, there's some really good performances and there's one performance that I do not like in this movie. And visual effects, some look great, some don't, and I'm going to be jumping back and forth between positives and negatives, and eventually I'm going to get into spoilers. So, spoilers for Lost World Jurassic Park. Sorry I have to do this, but it's the best way I can talk about this movie in terms of what I like and didn't like about it. Let's start off with the acting, because I've mentioned that already. I really like Jeff Goldblum in this movie. I think he has some really funny lines. He's a really entertaining character. And Julianne Moore I liked a lot. The child actor, whatever her name is, I can't remember her name right now, but she was good. And the only performance that I didn't like in the movie was Vince Vaughn. I think it was pretty bad in this movie. Let's talk about the opening scene. I think the opening scene is great. It definitely sets a different tone than the first movie does. I'm going to try, before I continue further, I'm trying my best not to reference the first Jurassic Park movie because I kind of want to talk about this movie as a standalone film, but there will be parts where I do compare it to the first Jurassic Park, and I also am trying to separate the two for one reason, and that is in terms of the tone of this movie. I wouldn't say darker because darker implies that something that would be, I don't know, more violent or not for kids at all, like something that would be, I don't know, rated R. In term comparing it to the first movie, this movie feels more mature than the first movie does. And I like that about it. Like, it's not really a kids movie. It's not really a movie that should be watched with both kids and adults. It's more of a, it's like older kids can watch this movie. That's my recommendation. Like, more people die in this movie than the first movie. I mean, you don't really see blood all that much like you would see in something like, I don't know, Terminator. You don't, it's not on that level. It's just like you see characters, you see people dying by dinosaurs. But they're kind of just like expandable people mainly, and well, we'll get on into that in just a second. In terms of things that I liked, again, a positive. This positive has both good elements and bad elements. The visual effects. Some of it looked really good still to this day. Actually, a lot. There's a decent amount of visual effects in this movie that look great. Like, the practical stuff looks better than the visual effects. However, some of it looks dated. And that is not really, for the most part, that's not something I can say about the first movie. Where, sure, you can tell it's visual effects, but when they're using CGI, but it looks so much more convincing in the first movie than this movie. Like, there's a velociraptor in this movie that is like has like bright colors on it. It's like a bright orange almost, I think. It, in case people are confused of which one I'm talking about, it's the one that the girl kicks through the wall. And the gymnastics scene. That's what it's called. When the movie was using visual effects for that specific velociraptor, it didn't look very good. I think the ones that have darker colors on them look better. Like, at night, I think the dinosaurs in this movie look great. Because it's the CGI is better masked at night. Like, it's like you're not able to see all these different details on them. I mean, there's a shot in this movie where you can see, was it like a stegosaurus or something? Where it's just walking in front of the camera and you see its entire CGI body, but for some reason it looks better close up than than the ones further in the background of the shot that you're seeing them. The effects in this movie are a little inconsistent in this movie. In terms of my own personal enjoyment of this film, I prefer the first half as opposed to the second half, and that is because in the first half there's less things that I don't really like in it. There's one scene where Ian Malcolm, the moment he gets to the island, he finds Sarah's bag, and he's yelling at her out her name, and it's like, why are you yelling in an area where there's dinosaurs that will possibly either eat you or attack you if threatened? Why would you do that? But what I'm trying to say is, although that is a stupid moment, there's fewer moments like that in the first half. Actually, that's probably the only stupid moment in the first half that stands out to me. The rest of it was great, and I also want to get back to this movie feeling more mature as opposed to the first movie because of the music choices. And if you compare it to the first movie, where it's more, you know, the main theme, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, that theme is used at the end credits, at the beginning of the end credits, and nowhere else in the film. And there's one moment that I can remember where they used something from the first movie, and that was when Ian Malcolm decides to go to the island to go get his girlfriend, played by Julianne Moore, Sarah Harding, that's her name. And as he's walking out of the room, with John Hammond, when he walks out of the room, the music goes ba 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 ba. That theme that you probably recognize from the first movie. That's it. The rest of it kind of feels like, I don't know. The music this time around doesn't have the same feel as the first movie, which is fine. I'm fine. I'm totally okay with it being different from the first movie. And the music, I wouldn't say the music in this movie is bad, but I wouldn't say it's as memorable as the first movie. And here's another thing that I want to bring up. Overall, when it comes down to it, everything that the movie offers, it doesn't do anything better than the first movie. There's one other thing that I want to talk about in terms of the visual effects. There's more of an over-reliance on CGI in this movie, and you get more dinosaurs in this movie. But as much as I like that on paper, I think that actually did the film a disservice, because toward the second half of the movie, there's a lot of... Actually, throughout the entire movie, now that I think about it, there's a lot of CGI in this movie. And I did mention it already, but I think what happened was that it stands out to me more because they're using CGI in a lot more of the movie compared to the first movie. Or at least in terms of what I can remember. Like, I don't remember as much CGI being used in the first movie than this movie. Which probably explains why some of it doesn't look great. I'm going to talk about my least favorite part of the movie. And that is, I forget the character's name, but it's like he's going out to use the bathroom, and it's in the second half of the movie where he goes out to use the bathroom. He gets distracted by, you know, those like small dinosaur things that were shown in the opening scene of the movie. It's basically them going after this one guy, and he gets lost, and as the scene goes on, it just becomes more annoying to me. And it also has these like weird camera shots, which is just like zooming in on the guy as he's like laying in the river. And I was thinking, I was honestly think it honestly reminded me of Evil Dead when I was watching some of this. I'm like, is this supposed to be a horror movie? Like, what is this? Like the first movie, sure, there were moments that were kind of horrifying, but not nearly on this level. It's like at one point you see a river of blood from the guy they eat. And it's also a really stupid scene for me because the guy who got lost was like, I don't know, 10 feet away from like where he was. Like, how do you not remember where you came from? Like, how far do you need to go to use the bathroom? I don't know. It just felt really thrown in, and it was very annoying. Okay, there's another part in the movie that I thought was really stupid, but it's from a scene in the movie that I actually like. It's, in the first movie you have the T-Rex breaking out of its cage and terrorizing everyone. But in this movie, it's when they're going after their child. You have two Tyrannosaurus Rexes going after their child and trying to find it. And then they attack the trailer. In this movie, they attack the trailer, and then they flip it over and push it over the edge, and eventually it falls off the edge. I like that scene. However, there's one part that I don't like about it, and that is I don't care how strong of a vehicle you have or how fast it can go. I don't believe for a second that a Jeep has enough, like, that a Jeep can just pull back a trailer when it's halfway tipped over from falling off the edge. I'm sorry. I don't buy that. In the end, The Lost World Jurassic Park, I have a lot of issues with it. I haven't really touched on what I really liked about it, and there's a lot of scenes that I love in this movie. Like, I love everything before they get to the island. Like, you see Ian Malcolm talking to everyone, trying to get to the island so he can go after Sarah, and the T-Rex scene where they're knocking off the trailer over the edge. Like, overall, I think that's a really good scene. And there's lots of really good scenes in the first half of the movie. And I enjoyed seeing InGen go after all these dinosaurs and put them all in cages. And I enjoyed the scene where, like, when our main group of heroes release the dinosaurs and they destroy everything. And Roland, he goes up to that, I forgot the guy's name, and he says, "That's the last time I put you in charge." Like, that's fun. And I haven't really touched on Roland's character in this movie. Like, I think he's probably the best character in the whole movie. Or he's like the most entertaining character in the whole movie for me. And also, the movie was never boring to me. And I've said before that a movie needs to offer more than just entertainment, and I feel as though it does. I like it more than I don't like it. I can find more positives than negatives, even though I have a lot of issues with this movie. I'll still rewatch this movie after I watch the first movie. I still think it's worth watching at least once in your life. If you love Jurassic Park, you can watch The Lost World. Don't expect the same movie, because it's not trying to be the same movie, even though in terms of the film's structure, it is similar, but in terms of tone, it's not going to be the same film. And I guess that I should give the movie credit for trying something different and not being a conventional studio cash grab film. Like, I actually feel as if there was effort put into the film. And I haven't talked about the T-Rex running around San Diego. That seems a lot of fun. And this movie, I left the movie feeling satisfied. I was happy with what I got. Even though this is a sequel to Jurassic Park, which I really love, I still don't hate this movie. And I understand why people don't like it at all. if this movie just doesn't connect with you, or you just can't get behind the characters because you feel as though their actions are too stupid, or it just doesn't offer anything that you want in it. Like, I understand that, but this is how I feel about the movie. And I'm going to give The Lost World Jurassic Park a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Lost World Jurassic Park down below. I would love to hear what you have to say about it because there's a lot to talk about. My social media links will be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for a movie that I haven't talked yet about on my channel. That is American Made. So look forward to that. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.